like to start with an example. We had a company years ago here in Aachen who came out, the Laser Technology Institute. They take so-called metal dust and they use a laser to build very complex parts out of the metal dust. So it's basically 3D printing at the very end of metal elements. And that was the very start of 3D printing at that institute, and they also wanted to build a company, and that company went into the market. And the basic idea of that company was, when you have to do complex products, because you can build all sorts of complex geometries, why don't you call us and we do the 3D printing of your complex geometry. And they had the first customers, and customers bought their products. But what the company also found out, that the geometries they were printing, they weren't complex. They were easy geometries. And then they did the same thing as we said before. They called the customer. And what they were able to find out was that the customers didn't ask for complexity. Customers said, we called you because we were building a prototype of a machine and we needed that part of the prototype, and you were the only one who could deliver that with a high speed. So they basically found out that customers are not buying because of complexity, but they were buying because of speed. And these were the reasons they were using to get the next customers. They called the next customers and said, if you build prototypes and need parts, we are very, very fast to build those prototypes with our 3D printing machine. And this is also how they built their unique selling proposition. Because the new unique selling proposition is about three things. The first thing is relevance. Relevance, what do I address as a key success factor in the market? And InnoShape addressed complexity in the first weeks of their development. When they found out complexity is not really relevant, they started to talk about speed. So they changed their idea, they changed the way they tackled the customers. Actually, they changed the so-called unique selling proposition. Their uniqueness was their speed. And they made it visible to the customers. They have shown the customers their processes, they've shown other customers to them, and when customers bought, they were really fast, so this is how they made it visible. You can make a price visible. It's more difficult to make a value chain visible to the customer unless value chain has an impact, for example, on the speed of delivery or whatever. And the third thing which builds a USP is sustainability. How are you able to maintain your advantage, which is relevant to the customer and which is visible to the customer? So these are the three elements of the unique selling proposition. And entrepreneurs have to find out on this unique selling proposition. As in the example of InnoShape, you put a product into the market, the same as we had in setting the context before. You ask the customers, why did you buy? And use those reasons to build your USP, because they are the relevant reasons of people buying your product. Make those visible and try to make your company sustainable. And the sustainability has a lot to do with your own resources. Because when it comes to complexity, you might have to think about engineers who can deal with complexity, maybe calculate complex metal parts. When it comes to speed, you might need business people who can design value chains that they are faster than before. And this is really changing your perspective from the inside to the outside and designing your resources accordingly in order to be able to maintain your competitive advantage, to be sustainable over time, so to use the third element of a USP. Let's look at that a little further. As a startup, you start with some strengths. And these strengths are you, the entrepreneur, and what you are able to do, and the couple of people you hire. And you identify opportunities to utilize the resources. You build your products, and you use your capabilities to build the products, and you go into the markets based on your resources and capabilities. Ideally, this is your competitive advantage. However, when you find out your competitive advantage is different, your USP is different, you might want to look back into your resources and develop a different strategy. So what you do is you identify resource gaps and you work on your resources again. This is how, as a startup, you can try to maintain sustainability by not only changing your market perspective, but also by adapting your resources according to the market perspective.